जयति पराशरसूनुः सत्यवती हृदयनन्दनो व्यासः यस्य आस्य कमलगलितं वाङ्मयममृतं जगत्पिबति भुजगभोगाभमुद्यम्य हृद्यं निजभुजं दक्षिणं लक्षणाढ्यं ललितमुद्रिक्तविज्ञानमुद्रं भज भज अनन्तमित्यालपन्तं प्रणतवान् प्राणिनां प्राणभूतं प्रणतिभिः प्रणये पूर्णबोधम् भवदवोष्णेन तातप्यमानान् भुवि परं नाथम् अप्रेक्षमाणान् भुवनमान्येन च अन्येन दोष्णा भवतु भीर्मा इति नः सान्त्वयन्तम् प्रणतवान् प्राणिनां प्राणभूतं प्रणतिभिः प्रणये पूर्णबोधम्.
I want to highlight a colophon in the Bhagavad-Gita. Krishna-Arjuna Samvade Bhagavad-Gita Upanishadsu. And the reason behind that is engaging. Bhagavad-Gita is a part of the epic Mahabharata. Upanishads are a part of the Vedas and are the essence of the Vedas. Bhagavad-Gita is the cream of Mahabharata, but how can it be considered as Upanishads? One can treat Vedas as a text. There are three parts to the Vedas: Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. The text known as Brahmana specifies the detailed ritualistic aspects of the Vedas and is for the ones who live a life as a grihastha, a married man. The Aranyaka portion comes after the Brahmana. In the ancient times, Vanaprastha was a stage of life when parents retired to the forest after completing the grihastha stage. They would hand over the reins of running of the household to their children and retire to the peace of the forest. One could then study the Aranyaka portion of the Vedas, followed by the sannyasi portion, when one could become entirely spiritual and enjoy learning the Upanishads. What is an Upanishad? It is formed by combining two words, Upa and Nishad. Here, Upa refers to an elevated state or a state when one can feel the height. The reference is not to the physical elevation, and it is an elevated state of mind which is highly spiritual. The spiritually uplifting text is called the Upanishad. One should have completed Upanayana to study the Upanishads. What is an Upanayana? It is the stage at which one prepares oneself to study the scriptures under the guidance of a master. By studying scriptures, one is elevating oneself. Thus, Upanishad is the scripture that elevates an individual to the highest spiritual heights. Coming back to Vedas, Mahabharata is called the fifth Veda. We usually talk about four Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda and Atharva Veda. Along with these, Mahabharata is called the fifth Veda. Not only that, according to some scholars, it is considered even superior to the Vedas. If Mahabharata is a Veda, then its Upanishad is Bhagavad-Gita. It is the scripture that can elevate us to the highest spiritual heights. Reading Bhagavad-Gita is a highly uplifting experience for the mind. Bhagavad-Gita is the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, Krishna-Arjuna Samvade. Usually, Krishna is a synonym for black and Arjuna is a synonym for white. Krishna signifies knowledge and provides wisdom to Arjuna, who is ignorant. Usually, darkness is associated with ignorance and knowledge is related to the brightness of daylight. we are genuinely ignorant when referring to Krishna as the Dark One, since we do not honestly know God. Arjuna signifies the world or prapancha. Thus, we tend to identify with the Arjuna since he has all of our qualities and is ignorant like most of us. Bhagavad-Gita is the dialogue that sheds light on the darkness of our ignorance. By reading the Bhagavad-Gita, we can realize our true spiritual and intellectual potential. Another name for Arjuna is Savyasachi. However, in the context of Bhagavad-Gita, Savyasachi means to achieve intellectual equanimity. It also implies to an archer with the dexterity to shoot arrows with both hands. To understand Bhagavad-Gita, we need to be a Savyasachi like Arjuna. Our brain has two sides, an intellectual side and an emotional side, left and right respectively. To truly understand Bhagavad-Gita, we must learn to balance both sides. If only an intellectual goes by pure logic, he may argue against any Vedanta. On the other hand, if one is a purely emotional person, he will accept any Vedanta as excellent without really understanding it. Hence, one needs to have a balanced view based on emotional and intellectual understanding to follow Bhagavad-Gita. Arjuna also means purity, white. We need to purify our minds to enable us to climb the spiritual heights and absorb the true essence of Bhagavad-Gita. An additional meaning for the word Arjuna is to accumulate or acquire. We should develop the thirst for knowledge to continue to add to our spiritual capital. Knowledge cannot be lost once someone acquires it. Material wealth keeps getting spent even if someone acquires a lot of it. But the wealth of spiritual knowledge keeps increasing even if you distribute more of it by teaching others. When we are not satisfied with the amount we know, we are genuinely like Arjuna. Another meaning of Arjuna is Gudakesha, one who has conquered sleep. One who has conquered sleep also means that one who is very alert all the time. All these different meanings of Arjuna point us to the qualifications we need to start on our spiritual, adhyatmic journey. Understanding Bhagavad-Gita becomes very easy when one has these qualities like Arjuna.